Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. So with yesterday's video, if you guys haven't watched it, I'm going to throw it right up on screen right now. We talked about Nahida's potential and things that need to align for her to be an amazing character. And of course, as I've always said, I don't look at leaks, but I can't avoid finding out certain bits of information through reading the comments. I do read most if not all the comments, and it's the same with yesterday's video. And now that I've known more about Nahida's kit, and I know her stuff is coming out in a couple of days, so it's not really that big of a deal that I now know. Does this make Nahida a must pull? So going forward, I'm going to be referring to the information that I now do know about Nahida's skill and kit and how they operate and synergies within her kit and potentially with other characters to analyze whether or not it's in your best interest to pull for Nahida. Now, if you're already groaning being like, meta, who cares about meta? I'm not just talking about this from a meta perspective, because Genshin Impact as a game has openly said their characters are part of the content. If not, their characters make up the bulk of their contents. We talked about this way in the past when new regions and new bosses have been introduced, and of course with 3.2 introducing the whole Scaramouche mechanical boss. I would imagine that boss is going to be a weekly boss, and it's going to be dropping the talents needed to level up some of these newer Sumerian characters. So if you don't pull for characters, right, like sure, the boss fight may be fun, but what's the reason for you to go back and do it over and over and over again, right? Sure, some people may enjoy the task of taking on an opponent, maybe even giving yourself a bit of a handicap. For the most part, people do it to get something back in return, and in this case, it's talent materials and whatnot, right? So we're going to be covering a whole spectrum of things when it comes to Nahida and her pull value, because for the most part, a lot of people would just say, no-brainer, right? Dendro Archon, best character of the year. It'd be not very smart to skip her. But there are plenty of people who have decided, like, you know what, like, I don't want to play the new stuff. I really don't care. I prefer the old stuff. I like my National. I like my Morgana. I like all these older teams using Vaporize, using Melt, using Freeze, and using Anemo characters. I can't live without Kazuha, right? So they prefer to stick with the old. Now, in that case, what's up with Nahida then? Right, so let's start from the most basic. Just get this out of the way. If you want to enjoy Genshin's contents to the fullest of what they have to offer, both character-wise, lore-wise, incentive-wise, picking up Nahida is going to be in your best interest to continue enjoying the game just even casually, or if you want to be hardcore. Going forward, more characters are going to come out that likely synergizes with Nahida. So if you don't want her, then you can kiss goodbye to a lot of the future characters that likely will lean towards someone like Nahida as a crutch. Now, of course, you have Dendro MC, you have Kole, likely will get more Dendro characters in the future that does what she does kind of, but not really. I understand waifu over meta, and Nahida may not be the most attractive character. Like, I mean, hell, like it's even okay to say she's attractive, but at the same time, you have to look at merits and synergy. Her kit is extremely loaded with just tons of benefits all over the place, like application, buffing, auras, like everything you could possibly want in a character right now. It's all being put into Nahida. But the people thinking, well, like, she doesn't synergize with the old characters. If you want to play her, you have to play with Pyro, Hydro, and Electro, and I'm just not a big fan of that stuff. Well, this is the thing, right? You do have some time before she goes away to find out through maybe content creators or just seeing what people have to say online, because off the top of my head, don't immediately count out Cryo, Geo, and Anemo. Anemo always exists in the form of just general utility, and for the passive of Nahida's burst skill, where having Pyro or Electro or Hydro in the team ends up buffing or giving you special effects, that could be easily achieved with two of the same elements, meaning you still have one extra slot. And if you don't want the additional effects of another buff, you could easily slot in one of the traditional elements that you love so much and lean towards it, either in the form of damage or utility. From what I've heard as well, Nahida also has the ability to buff elemental mastery, so that's immediately just everybody in the game can benefit from that. I think of Raiden Shogun and her ability to supercharge everybody on her team for the burst skill. That's a very universal tool available for players to take advantage of. Now, going to Nahida, elemental mastery is one of those other stats that it doesn't matter if you scale off of defense, HP, attack, or whatever the hell you want. Elemental mastery always has a place in all reactions. Hell, even Crystallize. If you are an avid Crystallize player, having Nahida on your team, it's kind of copium, but it definitely helps out a little bit when it comes to those kind of synergies. So what's the verdict here, right? A lot of people would be like, Walrus, are you saying she's a must pull? No character is a must pull. And some will even go to the length of saying, you know what? I'm going to be the guy that says it. Because she's popular, I don't want to pull her. I only want to pull for characters that are not popular. And that's completely fine. But I think we should avoid telling people that Nahida could potentially, be not worth it. I do think when it comes to just value, general value, both for entertainment because of how versatile she is. Yes, I do weigh versatility a lot into entertainment because I honestly don't feel like getting a character that can only be played one specific way could be like fun over a long period of time. I would think that characters that have flexibility, that can be flexed into multiple different roles on multiple different teams, will give you over a longer period of time more fulfillment and just playtime in general, right? And also investments into this character can yield great returns because she can now slot into 2, 3, 4, 5 different teams, and she functions at peak performance on all those teams, and essentially she becomes one of those pillars of the game, just like Zhongli, just like Raiden Shogun, just like, yeah, that's right, a Kazuha, not Venti. I'm sorry, all right? For people who thought I was going to say Venti, we have a new Anemo Archon and its name's Kazuha. Finally, I just want to talk about how HoYoverse has HoYoverse is basically now just funneling us into Nahida. If you don't pull for Nahida, likely going forward for the next at least like 2-3 patches with the characters that were teased originally for Sumeru, you are going to be feeling left out. Like you're gonna try to make Dayhill work, you're gonna try to make a Hytham work or something, and it's just gonna likely feel a little bit off. Honestly, I don't know what their kits do, but from a business perspective, from HoYoverse's perspective, it's in their best interest to feed more into the FOMO. Now, yes, by me saying this stuff and letting you guys know, I am also feeding into the FOMO, but don't worry, okay? The Dendro Archon is by no means like a character that just jumped on everybody's radar. I'm sure for the vast majority of you watching, the vast majority, okay? I can't say all, but most of you guys are likely going to be pulling her. And from what it seems, she's gonna be really good at C0, okay? And fingers crossed that she's not gonna have anything in her kit that makes her feel uncomfortable to play. I mean, C0 Zhongli was amazing, C0 Raiden was great, C0 Venti was superb, C0 Nahida, let's just have all our fingers crossed. None of this weird wacky stuff where like locks some sort of important stat or utility behind a constellation. And if Nahida does come out at C0 being an amazing character that fulfills all our needs, and the only thing that her constellation would give is like more damage or something like that, people, all right, I know must pulls are really not a thing, but if you play this game and if you plan to play Genshin for any extended period of time, it is definitely in your best interest to pick up Nahida. I almost never ever tell you guys any character is must pull, but I do think that contrary to popular beliefs, Nahida likely will be a must pull character if you want to continue enjoying Genshin. We know now that it's going to be a bunch of casual events. HoYoverse said it themselves, we want to avoid anxiety for players, and how can people not be talking about the quality of life where she can just snapshot items from like berries for people who are casuals, collecting berries, collecting this, that, and running around just grabbing stuff? That's insane. And also they noted too that it has some sort of unique ability as well. Like if you zoom onto NPCs, you can also have a potential interaction there too. It just feels like HoYoverse nowadays have taken casual into consideration for character building as well. Like if you are somebody who don't like combat but you like collecting stuff, like look at Nahida. I'm just saying, this honestly feels like HoYoverse is trying to make the perfect character that pleases as many people as possible. For the meta players, you got an amazing kit. For the casuals, you have a very big quality of life. It's like the only character in the game that can do this. I don't know what more to say. This character seems amazing, and I'm definitely going to be pulling for her. It's really making me think do I want to pull Nilou now so I can prepare Nilou to play with her? Because she seems just phenomenal, okay? So with all that said, heed this advice if you want, ignore it if you want. You can call me like a meta slut or whatever you guys prefer. But it is in everybody's best interest to pick up a 1 copy of Nahida and continue enjoying Genshin and its contents for like many patches to come, okay? I can't imagine Elemental Mastery ever not being useful in some way, shape, or form, and it's gonna be quite a while before they power creep Nahida's ability to buff EM. So, alright, that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you guys are gonna be pulling for Nahida, and until next time, until later today, because I'm going to be live streaming. We can talk more about this, okay? Till then, urge y'all to stay safe. Peace.